My name is Grace Baroni, and welcome to Conversations with the ERC5. Today I have with me Karen Blanchard from Michael Dias Foundation. Karen, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Grace.
I am so excited to have you here with us. This is, I think, sometimes we've had conversations here that are a little bit more challenging, and this may be as well. I am not as knowledgeable about a drug-free community. Yeah. But as I started looking into this, sometimes I think we just don't want to talk about what's right in front of us. So sure. I applaud you and the foundation for the amazing work that you have done. Tell us about the Michael Dias Foundation.
Well, it really is a team effort. It was born out of tragedy, but to me, it's an inspiration what the founders did to make this happen. Grace Dias, yes. She lost her son, Michael, to addiction. He was a brilliant young man, very handsome, talented. He top of his class in high school. He was accepted to Northeastern. He's a pianist with unusually gifted in that area, and he had everything going for him.
Yes.
However, he became addicted, and tragically he lost his life. And out of that grief, Grace Dias, our founder, she gathered together her friends, family, neighbors, and said something good has to come out of all of this grief. And that's when she started the Michael J. Dias Foundation.
Okay.
And we got our first house called the Michael's House, named after Michael.
Yes.
Okay. And then it blossomed into 2 more houses. The next was Sean's Place. And that's named after Sean Wyszynski. Sean, another young, handsome man, got into a car crash, and he was under the influence, and he lost his life. His 2 parents are on our board of directors and help us continue on.
Yes.
And then the third house is Christian and Brian's house. This is named after Christian Diaz and Brian Metzger. I had actually met Christian back in the day, and he was a charismatic kind of person, just openly, just loved life and was just, like I said, charismatic in his approach to everyone. He tried to get me on his softball team many a day because he knew I loved softball and he loved to play sports. And his brother Antoine Diaz is just as exuberant and effervescent as he was. I didn't know Brian. But again, I guess he was, very much into sports himself, and that's how we kind of got involved with the Forest Park project, because both Christian and Brian grew up in the Forest Park section of town, and they had a lot of friends and classmates and everything in that area, and that's kind of how all that blossomed.
Well, we are so grateful for these amazing people, from Grace Dias to the families that have joined her, that took their grief and created amazing projects that give back and focus on helping our communities deal with this drug addiction. Because to something you just said, I have a whole bunch of things I want to ask you, and I'm trying to stay focused. These were vibrant young men, right? Yeah. They had their whole lives ahead of them and so many wonderful resources, talented, and yet drugs, addiction came into their lives. And sometimes I think we think, oh, I live in a small town, that's not a problem here. But it's a problem everywhere, it just continues to grow. And I think a lot of it is our lack of wanting to talk about it, and education. What do we look for? How do we know if our child is having, are there telltale signs? All of that. How do we begin
Right.
to address this?
Over the years, I've been in this business at a long time, and people are talking about it more than they used to,
Yes.
which is really awesome. Great that people are starting to talk about this, because it's an epidemic. The disease of addiction is an epidemic, and it is permeating all walks of life.
Yes.
From the young to the older, to any race, any creed, any religion. It affects so many. And I'm sure that our audience knows somebody who is in recovery or is still struggling with addiction. And that's why we have to get out there and educate people and get them young. Okay, teach them that this is not the route to go, and hopefully have your peers reinforce that for you, that you don't have to go down that route.
Right.
Because it's not a pretty route.
Well, and then that's where these houses come in, right?
Yeah.
This is part of your road to recovery. And what do the houses provide? I mean, a safe environment, but are there like check-ins that happen to make sure that everyone is doing well? Yeah. How does that look? What does that look like?
It's very structured.
Okay.
And we do go by the 12 steps of recovery through AA. We find that works. It's our success rate is well beyond what the state level is. We have a success rate about approximately 30%, whereas the state success rate is 5%. So it's proving that our system is working, and like I said, structured. Curfews, making sure that you go to your home groups and your AA meetings, and we have in-house meetings, and we have peer support within the house. We have alumni come back and talk to the current group, telling them their story, their journeys, and how they were able to, stay on the path of recovery. And we wanted to make the houses a very home-like atmosphere, and I think we do it quite well. The staff is amazing.
They're beautiful.
Helping, because they have experience in this area, and we really just try to guide the men who are coming through that there is light at the end of the tunnel. Look to your higher power. He will guide you and get you through this difficult time.
So something you just said again, which was another one of my questions. Yeah. So we've got these 3 fabulous houses. Yeah. They really are. They're beautiful. They feel warm and welcoming. And are these just strictly for males? Is this a co-ed? Do we have a women's house in the future? How does that work?
Why, yes, we do. Thank you for asking.
Good.
Yes, right now all 3 houses are for men. And we have just announced that we are looking to open a woman's house. And we are very excited about this, because we have been told countless times by our partners that there is a need for a woman's house in this area. And we're different from, there are some other women's houses in the area, but we are different in that we're nonprofit. We do not accept state monies. We basically just want to keep autonomous and be able to do what we do and do it well. And by opening up a woman's house, we're able to open up what our platform is and just really help women now and not just men.
Well, as you said with the data that you shared, your success rate with these 3 houses, so why stop there?
Right.
Women have addictions as well. And as we said, it doesn't matter your sex or your community or anything else. Addiction does not discriminate.
No, it does not.
It's something that is everywhere.
Right.
And you mentioned AA.
Yeah.
So you hear about, if somebody is a recovering alcoholic, you obviously don't want to take them to the local pub.
Right.
Right?
That would not be advisable.
But then we have to think about that too. So we have our children, and maybe they go through a treatment center for rehab, and then they come back home. But if I'm going out with you and you say, yes, I know that you're, a recovering alcoholic, I'm not going to say, hey, let's go down to the pub. How do we keep our our children safe, our young adults safe, because it is all around us.
Yeah.
So how do we do that?
The key is to not put the person back in the environment that put them in the situation in the first place. And that's why, we have them come to the homes and, we have them, under supervision. I mean, they can come and go as they please. They all have jobs, but they go to their meetings and we're there to support them on their journey. And that's the thing. You've got to take them out of the environment that it all caused this to happen.
Right.
And then,
that's where the challenge, I feel, must be. How do you do that?
Absolutely. So when they have a lot of, some recovery under their belt and they feel it's the right time to go off on their own again, we try to help them find housing that's appropriate and not in the same area that they were living in that, may have.
Where this was prevalent.
Yeah, right.
And most of us may think, oh, no, that's a safe place. It wasn't. Yeah. It made its way into your home. It can make its way into others.
So true.
And we just need to be more informed about that. But as you said, I am glad that we're talking more about it. But why did we wait for it to become a pandemic? But we need to jump in there as communities and just learn, how can we rally and how can we support you? How can we help you?
Yeah, and you brought up the pandemic. That just exasperated things because people were isolated and they weren't able to go to their AA meetings and they were home and they were twiddling their thumbs and it went back to drinking and what else can make me feel good, because people were depressed and lonely and so the pandemic did not help matters in this area. So we talk about how we can help. Well, it's all about education. That's one of the main things that we talk about. Our executive director of operations, Adam Bartlett, he goes out to the schools and tries to talk to the kids, either in the health class or is the full complement of students.
Okay.
Get the people educated, younger the better. But we're also involved with the sheriffs, their task force, their addiction task force, and Adam goes and talks to them all the time. Our other employee, John Shea, he goes out, he talks to groups, and it just really, I think, the more education, the
better.
The better helps the cause.
Karen, are there any challenges out in the community right now that we should be aware of?
Yes, there is a dietary supplement that they're promoting called Zaza Red. But in actuality, it's a synthetic opioid. And that's a very scary thing because it's in every corner store. You can buy it online. Anybody can get their hands on it. So that is what's scaring us right now.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. I mean, that is frightening.
It is.
Our members who are interested in becoming involved with the foundation or want to know more, any of our viewers, how can they get in touch with you?
Well, they can definitely check out our website, which is mdiasfoundation.org. There's a lot of information on there. We're going to be redoing our website, but for the time being, there's still a lot of information on there. And, it's a time of growth for us, and we just, want the community to be involved and see the great works we're doing, all the successes we've had, and the partnerships that we're forming, and it's just a really exciting time for the foundation.
Thank you so much for the amazing work that you're doing, for sharing it with us, and hopefully this is the first step in all of us becoming more involved with the foundation and helping to find solutions for this crisis.
Yes.
Karen, it's a pleasure having you with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you to our viewers for watching this episode. This was really very informative for me, and I hope for you as well, and that you'll reach out to Karen. If you'd like to be a guest on our podcast, please visit our website at ERC5.com, and you can sign up to be the next guest here at Stonegate Studios in Wilbraham. Thank you.